story's a way for the game to take on a greater meaning.
You play a single-player game, and there's part of that experience that you cannot get anywhere else.
BT!
Got you.
The universe of Titanfall 2 takes place around 5 years after the events of Titanfall 1.
The militia have actually taken over 25% of the frontier. They're taking it back. They're taking their freedom back.
And in that process, the militia's discovered this mysterious planet Typhon, and they don't really know what's going on there.
Kuben Glisk is actually back, and he is working for the IMC as a mercenary.
As a player, you'll have to face off a lot of mercenary threats, indigenous threats, as well as IMC threats. And if you can survive that, maybe you can save the frontier.
Technically, I'm not supposed to be training you, but in you I see potential.
Jack Cooper is an enlisted rifleman who wants to be a pilot.
At first, he's getting unofficially trained by his mentor, Captain Lastimosa. And when Captain Lastimosa meets an untimely fate, he essentially says, take the Titan, finish the mission.
That's a rifleman, the lowest of the militia, being handed the most advanced Titan in the frontier.
At first, BT was written in a way that felt very bossy.
He wasn't always as much of a personality as he is now.
He sees things very literally, you know, almost like a very grown-up toddler.
That's insane.
I'm incapable of insanity, pilot.
BT is very carefully built to express.
We didn't want it to be eyebrows, you know, like really obvious surprise and anger, but we wanted something, and just having a little bit of blinking in there.
His eye just sort of tracks with you, and he kind of looks at you, and he emotes quite interestingly.
Focusing a little warmth in his cold roboticness.
This Titan weapon is an advanced design.
I think somebody's in love.
The bond between Jack and BT was one of those aha moments in development.
That relationship brought to light this sense of interdependence between the two that previously wasn't there.
Definitely the big tool we lean on to strengthen this bond is our conversation system.
This is an interesting way to let the player speak to BT and respond to the situation, or not, if they choose.
I would accompany you, but unfortunately my chassis will not fit through the door.
Oh, lucky you.
I detect sarcasm.
You get to engage with him and learn a little bit more about how you feel about him and how about he feels about you. And that evolves over the course of the game as the player proves himself to BT.
It's you against the world with BT at your side.
It's good to see you, buddy.
It is good to see you too, pilot.
I think the unique personality of Titanfall's single-player campaign comes from its sheer variety.
We have an experience that I don't feel like I get anywhere else right now.
You can get different Titan loadouts and experience the different flavors of Titans from the multiplayer in the single player.
Big set-piece moments. We have like epic combat spaces, but then we also have low-key moments where you're just progressing through the environment and exploring. You're using your pilot mobility.
We've actually brought puzzle mechanics into the fray.
Some of them are light puzzles that actually require you to stop and think about the environment and look around.
We've got encounters with really strong enemy characters. They're like boss battles.
And these bosses all have some very eclectic, interesting personalities.
Woo! Now we're talking!
The first step in the process for Titanfall 2 that I really remember was the action block phase.
Each week, the entire design team would go off and they would have an opportunity to be creative independently.
It freed up the team to just concentrate on what were the basic building blocks of single-player gameplay.
The ideas would get pulled together into a place where they could start to form the nexus for a level.
One of the action blocks that made it into the game was the experiment where we worked with cranes, these wall-running panels that were suspended from cables, and you could move them into position and use those to make your way through the level. The great thing about single player in Titanfall 2 is that it's not just defined by one thing.
What does it mean to focus on a Titan fighting another Titan? What does it mean to be a pilot that's being helped by his Titan?
And what makes that focus on the bonds so important to single player is it really reinforces that there are two units at work here. They have to work together.
Because we want to build a relationship between you and BT, we often do things where we split you guys up. You get out of BT, you look at the environment, the objective might be that way, but then you'll see something that looks interesting over there. You go over there and try it out and see what you can find.
But then there's this added layer of you're stronger together.
Trust me.
In this game, it's not just corridors, it's wide opportunities that embrace our motion model instead of trying to cage the bird.
We're going to be able to put something out there and have people get an experience that's uniquely Titanfall.
Campaigns and single player and shooters, they can be more. They can be more varied and more adventure-like.